Hi guys, it's Angie Bell, my fairy treasures. Take two. Oh, my phone. That thing just be turning off, you guys. Makes me so mad. Anyway, I'm back again. You don't even know that because, you don't know that my damn phone turned off. Anyway, we're doing one of my little fairy worlds again with collage bits. And then we will add in one of my Angie's Angels, which is usually a little fairy or one of my girls, into my little fairy world. So, and I call them little fairy worlds because they're like little fantasy worlds. They look like fairy worlds when we're done with them. So what I did is like always, if you haven't seen my videos, I'll explain what I did to get to this point. I go through calendars, magazines, and a lot of magazines that I get from Dollar Tree. Not magazines, calendars. And I cut out collage bits, and then I collage it all together. And then we take acrylic paint. Well, I take all the collage bits, I glue them down with some like matte medium, or I make my own matte medium out of Elmer's glue and about 7 squirts. I use a thing about this big with Elmer's glue, about 7 squirts of acrylic matte coating. And what that does, you can get this anywhere. I got this one at Hobby Lobby, like $4 or $5. It makes like a matte medium for dirt cheap, you guys. Then, so I collaged all those collage bits down with that. You can use matte medium if you want. If not, you can make your own and be cheap like me. Okay. And the reason you want it to be a matte, you either use matte medium or you use my homemade matte medium, is because you want this surface to be a paintable surface and also a wipeable surface. So if you mess up on something, you don't like how it looks, you can just wipe it off. Also, you want it to be a paintable surface because magazine bits usually aren't always paintable, right? I also, just to make it even more of a paintable surface, I take and just spray over the whole thing at the end. After I'm done gluing everything and everything's dry, I just sprayed this acrylic matte coating on. Okay? It doesn't have to be this brand, just acrylic matte coating. Okay. Stay. And that's where we're at right now. Now, these are some little bubbles here. And I already started creating some, and I just did a few of them to kind of get my colors down of what I wanted to use. So a lot of times in the sky here, oh, and let me back up. The sky is a calendar piece that I got from Dollar Tree. It's from a calendar. Isn't that gorgeous, you guys? So that's where I got that. This bird is another Dollar Tree calendar. The roses down here, let me make sure you guys can see. The roses down here, I'm just going to bring this down a little bit more. The roses down here, I got that from a book called, because you might want to order this book if you want to do collage work and you want a bunch of roses. It's called The Ultimate Rose Book. You guys, this is only like $4. In fact, you know what? Today I got to go online and order myself a couple more of these. Anyway, they're only like $4 or $5, free shipping. And look at the book. It's full of roses. Look at that. Everything. So, and I use roses in a lot of my work. So, I think roses are very magical and very fairy-like and all of that. So, making sure that I'm still on camera. So that's where I got the roses. This is from a magazine. This is from a calendar. These hummingbirds. Is that from a calendar? Yeah, it's from a calendar. I think it's a Dollar Tree calendar. Yeah. Magazine. This is a purse, a set of purses all stacked up here. And we're going to make a waterfall out of this. This is a perfume bottle. We're going to make a little waterfall out of this. This is a little castle, which I think is beautiful. We're going to add little snow or water drizzling from everywhere and down the stairs and all kinds of stuff. So, and then this is a big, huge diamond ring. And this might be a little world. We'll see. Okay, so we're going to start up in the sky first. And we're going to start creating all the rest of these bubbles. Okay? So, let's come in a little bit. Let me see which way I need to go. Just a second, guys. I need to come up. Nope, I need to go down. Okay. There we go. So make sure you guys can see everything and come in a little close, as close as we can. All right. So I can put another one here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is today, I usually use acrylic, flat acrylic paint. I'm out of white acrylic paint. I can't even believe it. I have tons of acrylic paint and I'm out of white. So I'm using gesso for this, white gesso, which is working out just fine. So, just to let you know, if that ever happens to you, you can use some white gesso paint if you have that. Okay. But it is on my list to buy a bunch of white acrylic paints. I can't believe I'm out of those. Okay, I buy just the apple barrels, 50 cents at Walmart. So, okay, you know what, that needs to go over here. So, I like to take, this is the lid of an acrylic paint bottle. I like to use that size for my big bubbles, and I'll show you what I'm going to use for the small ones in just a second. Okay, so let's start making the forms of the bubbles. And it doesn't have to be perfectly done. Now, I make planets just like this too, and I'll show you the difference between the planets once we get there. The difference between planets and bubbles. And today we're making bubbles. Okay? Do I want bubbles to go anywhere else? I don't know. We'll see. If I want any more bubbles, I'll put them in later. Okay, so so that's the cap of the paint bottle. This cap here, just a second, it just got dipped in some paint. This little cap is the cap of my Stickles bottle, okay? So we're going to dip that in, I'm just dipping it in white paint like this, okay? And we're just going to, you want some other little small bubbles, right? Because if they're bubbles, they're not going to be all the same size. I mean, if I want to be realistic, I would even need to make other sizes besides these, but okay. In this fantasy world, that's how this is going to work out. Okay. So, we got bubbles everywhere. The shapes of bubbles everywhere, right? Right. Let me wipe off my little cap. Use my mirror, make sure you're still there, and you are. Okay. My mirror helps me stay in frame, you guys, because the camera's facing up towards the ceiling, so I can't see to see if I'm in frame, and I don't have to keep, and this way I don't have to keep getting up and down and looking. I can just use my mirror. Okay. All right. So what I want to do now is I'm going to show you how I like to do these bubbles. So I chose some acrylic paints. They're all cheapy acrylic paint. These are Craft Smart. I actually got these at Michael's. This is a fuchsia. I chose a denim blue and Americana. This one is actually always $1.75, $2. It's a little expensive, but you guys, it's called Purple Pizzazz. Always have that in your little collection of acrylic paints because it's a fabulous color. Okay, so I have all those right here already because I was already playing with stuff. So what I'm going to do, oh, before I do that, I almost forgot. Take some white acrylic paint or your gesso and totally go into the center. Fill in the center of your circle. And does it have to be perfect? No. Because you can clean it up with a baby wipe. And also, we're going to encircle it with my brush too. I'll show you. And I'll work on this and do as much as I can in an hour. And then whatever I don't finish up, I'll finish up off camera. Then I'll come back in part 2 or 3, depending on what this is, and show you how to finish it up with putting my Angie's Angel in this fairy world. Okay? Okay, so we got that white painted on there, right? So now I'm going to take, while the paint's still wet, I'm going to take some of this pizzazzy purple color. Dab that in there. Oh, this isn't pizzazzy purple. Sorry, this is a pink color. Now we'll put the jazzy purple, or pizzazz purple, whatever it's. Okay. And then we'll put and I wipe my finger off between each one, and then we'll put a little bit of this blue in. Okay. And then you want to pounce your finger a little bit to blend everything. So pounce, 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 pounce. Wipe your finger and then pounce the purple. And then pounce the blue. And it just kind of starts blending everything. Okay? Then I'm going to take my little, what is this? Liner brush. And go back into the white. and then go around the bubble. Now this is the same way I make planets too. If it was going to be a planet, I would encircle this and then throw stars all over this, and I wouldn't do anything else. And that would be a planet. And when I do my white liner go around, I don't make the line perfect because it's a bubble or it's a planet. So everything's not perfect. And I think the more imperfect, the better it looks, in my opinion. Now, this is how I make it. This is, okay, so if it was going to be a planet, it would stay just like this. But this is just the little difference I do to make it look more like bubbles. Very simple. I take a like a stiff brush, which gives more of a scruffiness. If you take a stiff brush and dip in your white paint or your white gesso, and I'm using, as for my white gesso, I'm using Jane Davenport, and just make little swooshes like that there. In fact, you know what? I need to dry this because I'm smushing paint. So you know what? Let me dry this bubble. Okay. So, again, load your stiff brush, which is kind of a scruffy brush, with paint again. And then you're just going to do a swoosh there, like that, and a swoosh here. That's it. And that gives it more of a bubble look with the little swoosh. See how I have swooshes in all those bubbles? So I think, in my opinion, that makes it look more bubble-like. Isn't that cool? Okay, another thing is, let's fill in all the small bubbles, I don't fill in with paint. I leave them see-through. And I just throw a little swoosh in there. Just a little swoosh. Okay. Some of them I just throw one little swoosh. If I can fit two in there. Okay. So that's what I do with the little small bubbles. I just throw little swooshes in there. Okay. It just gives it makes it look a little bit more like water. Not like water, like a bubble. Okay. Perfect. So now, see how pretty that looks? So now really quickly, we'll work on another bubble. Well, I don't want to work on too many bubbles, but let's go ahead and fill in all the bubbles with, well, I can't fill them all with white paint because I like to do it right afterwards. Let's just do one more bubble together. Okay, so take the white paint and fill in the bubble. Staying in the circle as much as possible. If you go outside of it, it's okay. Clean it up with a baby wipe. No major. Okay, so we put the white paint in there. Again, take this magenta color. Dab that. Okay. Then I like to take, I'm going to take this purple passion or pizzazz. Dab that. And then wipe my finger and take this blue. Okay? And then just do a little dab. And that blends things together. Cool. And then take our white paint and our liner brush again and kind of outline our bubble just to kind of give it a little bit of form. But like I said, don't perfectly outline it. Leave it a little bit rough. Like right there is a little rough looking, and I think that looks better. We have some bubbles here, over here, that could be formed just a little bit better. So I'm just going to, just a little bit. There we go. And I'm going to leave some really deformed bubbles like that one. I think it actually looks more natural now that I really look at it. Okay. So I'm not going to keep working on bubbles because there's a lot of other things I want to show you. But you see how I do the bubbles, so I'll finish up the bubbles off camera. Let's put a bunch of stars in. Okay, in the sky. And pretty much all over this whole picture. Because they're going to be stars up here, or there might be snow. Snow or stars, who knows. But I'm going to put more like white flecks down here for snow. So let me look for my fan brush. Where the hell is it? I'm so organized. Seriously, I am with all my brushes. But then I can't find what I need. Here it is. You guys are like, okay, you sound organized. Not. I need my water bottle. So see a little bit of white paint on there? I'm going to go ahead and spray it into I sprayed the water into this white paint so that we can make basically some stars in the sky. And then when I hit everything else in this painting, or in my little fantasy world, it's going to be like snow. Okay. Move some things out of the way that I don't want to get splattered with these white splatters. Just a second. I'm moving my crud out of the way. Okay. Here we go. So, and this is what the magic, I think, makes this whole painting come alive right away. All of these white splatters, which up in the sky is going to be like stars. And then the rest of it I'm going to do, it's like snow. I think this is what adds magic. I really do. I have my iPad on the side of me. I'm like, girl, you know what? Let me put my iPad down, screen down, because that would not be fun to try to get white paint off the screen of my iPad. I'll have a damn heart attack. You guys are like, okay. Well, you know, you too would too. You don't want that happening to your iPad. You'd be like, oh, my iPad has paint all over it. Okay. Fabulous. That's exactly what I wanted. And I see one little, like, kind of got a little intense right there. A little splatter turned into like a water droplet. Okay. Love that. Let me bring that back down like that so you guys can see that again. I'll go like that so you can see the whole world. See what magic that adds? I know you can't see the bottom right now, but we'll go to the bottom in a minute. But look how magical everything looks just by adding those splatters. Okay. So, up here in the sky, these are going to be stars, right? Right. So, that white paint is gone. All right, let me get out my gesso. Okay. So I took a little white paint, in my case white gesso since I'm out of white paint. And see how we have those, all the small stars, right? Now I'm going to make some medium-sized stars. Oh. Where am I at? Right here. Can you see all this right here? Okay. So for the most part, I should stay on camera. If I get off camera a little bit, you guys, sorry. So I just do three little lines, three little basic flick outs. And that's how I create my little natural looking medium-sized stars. So we have our small stars by the splatters, right? And then our medium-sized stars like this. You can take some of these stars and you can put them on the, well, these aren't planets. If they're planets, I usually put some stars on the planets, but they're bubbles, so. But you could put a little star on your bubble if you want. Oh, you know what I didn't do with this one? I didn't put swooshes. Remember? A little swoosh. I'll just do it with my liner brush instead of my stiff brush. See? There we go. You'll notice this type of work is like about 20 million different little details. That's what this work involves, but I love it. I think it's so fun to create these little fantasy worlds, my little fairylands. And if you start getting overwhelmed by all the little techniques that I'm using, just get a pencil and paper out and write down 5 or 6 of them. And then try this and use those 5 or 6 little techniques. And pretty soon, if you really like doing this kind of work, you'll have them memorized easily. Okay? That looks really pretty. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I want to do, so that's how I did those. Now I want to do some shooting stars, okay? Okay, so now I'm going to do shooting stars. So I put a dot down with my liner brush and just shoot out. Now, the reason, you could use a paint pen if you want, but the reason that I like using a liner brush is because it gives a more natural look. It looks like more like it's shooting out, in my opinion. It looks too controlled with a paint pen. That's what I think. That's my opinion. I'm going to go right across that building, which I think will look cool. Okay. And when I'm done with this painting, I will be making prints of it and sell it in my Etsy shop. And I'll let you know when I do that. And it'll also be framed. So, and very inexpensive. I think they're going to be right around $12. The prints with a frame. I know. Awesome deal. And it sounds actually almost really too cheap. But you know what I want? If you want a piece of my art and you like the way I'm doing things, I want anyone who wants my art to be able to afford my art. What's the purpose of charging all this money for your art? And people are like, girl, that's too damn expensive. I mean, what's the purpose then? I want to share it with everybody. So, and prints, you know, I have it down how to make my prints at an affordable price and make really nice prints. And that way everybody can have some of my art if they want it. If they're interested, if they want to, they can get it. I think at $12 framed, that's really, really affordable. Okay. And I'll be selling it in my Etsy shop. So, I'll announce it on my channel, but also my Instagram will be below, and I definitely will be announcing like anything that I have for sale after I get my prints made up and I have it framed. It'll be announced on my Etsy channel or my Instagram. You can go to my Instagram. It's like a little gallery in my Instagram. It's a bunch of my artwork all shown on my Instagram. So I think that looks really, really pretty, you guys. Let me see what you guys are seeing. Okay. Gorgeous. Let's get crazy, even though it's kind of already too overdone. I know it is, but we're going to add some lightning. You know what? We're not going to add lightning because it's too much going on. I don't think you're going to actually see the lightning. Yeah, we're not going to add lightning to this one. Okay. We got a lot going on. We got stars, we got shooting stars, we got medium-sized stars. We are going to do one more thing. We're going to put some birds up in here. Okay, so take your black paint, like black acrylic paint. Put it on your, let me get a new plastic plate tray thing. So just a little black paint like that. And we're going to do some birds in the sky. Okay. And I'm getting close to 30 minutes, you guys. So this will turn off. I'm just going to keep working straight through. So when it turns off, just go ahead and go to part 2. Because it's going to turn off any minute now. But it doesn't turn off my camera. It just starts a whole nother 30 minutes for a new video. It's weird. I'm using my phone, and that's what it does. So, okay, so for birds, you're just making these little V's. See? Really, really simple. Oh my God, my neighbor has this stupid motorcycle, and it's so loud. It's like, okay, we know you're here. We know you're, we know you have a nice motorcycle. The thing is loud. It's ridiculous. Okay, I'm going to put a couple birds flying through the bubbles, which I think really adds some magic. I'm going to do it to the clear bubbles too. If I get off a frame and you don't see it, I'll be back in a second. Cool. I think that looks really cool. Look at all those birds. That look crazy good. Okay, so let me come back out a little bit so you guys can see this other side. I'm just going to throw some birds in over here. I won't be quite as close up, but you guys got the little stroke that I did, which is nothing. It's just making little V's. If you want to make a bigger bird, you make a line. This is what I do. I make a line, and then I kind of just go like this. Okay, and that creates kind of a larger bird. I'm going to put one of those down here. I don't know if you guys are going to see that or not, but I've got that shape of a bird, like the larger ones. When I was at the beach, I was looking at the birds fly, and I'm like, that's their shape. Like when they're really, like when they're not super far, when they're super far away, they just look like these little V's. But when they're a little bit closer, not super close, but a little bit closer, you can start to really see in their shape more. And they look like this. So, and that was the day I was like, you know what? I'm going to start doing the larger birds like that. So always be looking at nature. Look at lightning. Look at how birds. Look at clouds. And you can start including that kind of stuff in your work. Okay. I think that looks really good. Look how magical it looks. And we just only did the sky, you guys. That's all we did so far. Okay. Let me put that over there. Okay, is that going to fall? Probably. All right, there we go. Let's now go to, what are we going to next? Let's go to this little castle here. This is cool. It's kind of dark right here, so it looks like a little bit of space and stuff in there. That looks pretty cool. I'm just looking at something, you guys. You know what? See how you can see the torn edge here? It almost looks like it's pasted in. I'm going to put a cloud in right here, okay? And that's going to bring these two worlds together. I'm going to add some clouds. So, and then I'll also show you how I do clouds. So I'm going to use that stiff brush, which really acts like more of a scruffy brush because it's so nice and stiff. This one right here. Okay. With some white paint. A lot of times, you guys, I put my own clouds in. A lot of times what happens is I only have a small piece of the sky. So I paint I use the collage bit of the sky, and then I paint the rest of the sky in, and I match it to wherever the collage bit is. And then I add in my own clouds. But this sky was already so cool, I didn't add any more clouds in. But I need, and when I do that, that will go ahead and blend in, like if I have a castle or something else going on. So I'm going to come in here and then kind of go like this. Take off some of the paint. I'm going to throw in a cloud right here. Now, I just probably went over a bird and something else, but I'm not going to worry about that. I need a cloud. And then we're going to put a cloud in right here. Okay. And that just brings these two worlds together. See, the cloud went into this world. And let's do another one right in here. Okay. So now these two worlds are together. They're not separated. Sometimes you do want your worlds separated, but right now I do not. Okay. That looks good. Okay, so that's just how I brought those two worlds together. Now, sometimes I go ahead and I put clouds all over this sky before I even put any stars or anything else. But I already had liked the way the sky was. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to make it look like there's water or snow coming out of this castle. And hopefully, you guys, I'm able to flip this video so that you guys are seeing it as if you were standing behind me. If not, at the end, I will flip this whole thing around and let you guys really look at it. And then if I am able to flip it at the end, you'll see it both ways. You'll see it my way and your way. Anyway. That sounds a little confusing. White paint again. Okay, I'm just going to take and put some, see how close I am here. Let's zoom in. There we go. All right, right here, I'm going to put a little bit of some snow. Okay. It could be snow, it could be rain, it could be a whole lot of things. I'm going to try something here. Yeah, that's not working out too good. Okay.